have a very interesting game mechanic that I don't think a lot of people know about. Is you can actually break down cards into elements and then create new cards. Can you go into a little detail about that?
Yeah, so what was really important for us is for players to be able to get cards that they do want and get rid of cards that they don't want. So as people are collecting more and more cards, you might decide that, hey, I'm a rogue player and I'm only interested in rogue cards, or hey, I'm really into murlocs. I want to make a murloc deck right now, and there's these other types of decks that I'm not really interested in right now, but I want to get the murloc cards. So traditionally, this type of mechanic was handled by maybe things like player-to-player trading, but we wanted that to be even more approachable and accessible experience for especially new players. So what the crafting system does is if you end up opening a lot of packs and have either duplicates of cards or cards you don't like, instead of having to wait for somebody who wants cards that you don't want and try to trade with them, you can actually immediately disenchant them and then kind of save them up and then go ahead and purchase cards you want using those dusts right away. So we think that's really, it kind of extends what we want to do with the game overall, which is make it accessible and make it approachable for all players.
Yeah, you can craft any card in the game with dust, but you can also craft these really crazy golden cards. These are cosmetic upgrades for your normal cards, and they have amazing animations and these golden frames. It's a really awesome way to customize your deck and to really show how far along you are in your collection.
Can you guys go into detail about the development process and why there's the 2-card maximum for any card in your deck?
I think that's a better question for Brode, actually.
Sure, yeah. It's one of the challenges making a game online, and especially when you start to look at iPad and iPhone, is how do you get a really rich deck building experience onto a UI that's understandable, that you can really interact with and make an easy deck for your first time. And a 30-card deck is much more easily manageable than a 60-card deck. And so we cap, instead of a 60-card deck, which some card games use a 60-card deck, some use 40-card decks, we're using a 30-card deck with 2 of each card, and that makes it way more manageable, and it still gives you a lot of variety in what you're drawing each turn. Also, because we don't have a resource model that exists in your hand, you get a resource every turn in the form of a mana crystal, and every turn you get more and more. Eventually you have a ton, you can play crazy powerful cards, but that happens automatically, and so we don't have cards in your deck or in your hand that are taking up space as these resources. So every card is a powerful minion or spell or weapon that you can play, and so we don't need as many slots in your deck dedicated to those types of cards.
Will you guys maybe eventually have reward cards that will cross software like World of Warcraft and StarCraft that unlocks portraits or pets or flags?
That's something that is kind of interesting for us, and we're exploring ways that our games could interact, but we have nothing that we're ready to talk about on that front right now.
How cool would it be if you guys were playing World of Warcraft, could walk into an inn, like right-click on the chair, and then go into Hearthstone inside of World of Warcraft?
I mean, that's actually something we thought would be really cool as well. Honestly, as the game comes out on iPad and Android devices, if you're waiting for a raid to get started or you're in flight, you can just take out your tablet and play right there, and that's totally frictionless, and you can kind of pick it up and drop it off whenever you want. We're really excited about that.
Going mobile and being able to play this game anywhere is super exciting.
Can you guys talk about, you have a really interesting way, there's no in-game chat. You cannot talk to the other person. You're very limited to how you can do that. Can you elaborate why you guys did that?
So I think interacting with other players in a competitive game can be tricky business. The whole tenet of Hearthstone is to keep the game accessible and approachable for all players. And I think for especially new players and casual players who are not kind of accustomed to interacting with other players in a competitive 1v1 environment, the kind of reaction you could get from an opponent, say you're beating, could be a really negative experience. So what we wanted to do was be able to kind of maintain this interactivity with your opponent, so you can see as he's going through his thought process, you can see his cards hovering, and you can kind of connect. It really feels like he's in front of you and thinking. And if you want to express an emotion, we let you do it in a friendly and approachable way through emotes. So you maintain that emotional connection, but kind of shield you from bad things that could happen if you were to chat with them directly. We're working really hard towards open beta right now. The team's focus is in really getting the beta ready so that we can open it up to the public.
and after beta is launched, and we're looking forward to all those milestones coming up.
What are you guys most excited about for people to experience with Hearthstone?
I just want everybody to try it out. Anybody who felt intimidated by card games, or they go, oh, I'm not really sure Hearthstone's for me, I'm not sure if card games are for me. I've seen time and time again, even here at BlizzCon, just people trying out once you come in contact with the game, I am convinced, I know you'll fall in love with it.
I really love how fast the game plays. The average game time in a game of Hearthstone is 8.5 minutes. So you can play a couple games during lunch. You can play a game while you're waiting for the train. I know Yong does that. And it's just so great to be able to have this really epic strategic experience in such a short period of time.